Hey guys, so here at Summit Electric, business that I am 50% owner in, we do a lot of commercial work and residential work, service work. We do everything from generators, solar, to large commercial, industrial, small. We come in and replace, lights or breakers and panels in your home. But today, what I'm wearing is my estimating hat, and I am estimating a commercial project that we're going to put a lot of time into going through. And so, the first steps when you start estimating commercial projects is you need to first and foremost you got to start weighing all the costs of the project. And the only way you can do that is really by going through and counting everything we're going to install. Everything that the engineer has put on the plans to be installed, we need to count it first and foremost so we can understand the cost of doing this project. So as you know, there's the way this is going to work is I'm going to bid this to a contractor, but there's other electrical guys that are bidding it. So I have to be sensitive as to how much information I give you, so I'm not kind of giving away my secrets on how we always get there and get the right number for the job. And we do quite often get the right number. Maybe it's not the low number, but I believe it to be the right number generally. So what I want to do today is just kind of give you a quick overview on how we go about getting from a working set of drawings, bidding documents, to us putting our hats on and breaking ground and doing the project. And there's so much time that goes into that. And so here we are, and I'm going to kind of flip us around, see the. So this is where we're going to always start. This is the one set of electrical plans. If I could show you over here, that's 137 pages of these construction documents. There's actually 157 pages. That's just the plans. And then there's a whole book that we get the specifications for the project. Every project has slightly different specifications depending on the type of construction. So what we do is we're going to start right here. What we're starting with is we're looking at this is the demo phase of this project. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to show you how many pages I'm going to go through. This is just demoing. This is just one floor to be demoed here. This is actually a project called the Fairbanks Museum. You might have heard of it. It's up in St. Johnsbury, Vermont. It's a great museum. I went there as a student back in elementary. Some of you people watching this might have gone there with me. I brought my kids there. My kids have gone with the different schools. So then you can kind of see. So through the demo section of this, there's multiple pages. So that's the very first stages of this thing, is kind of figuring out how much demo time we're going to be going to. And then what we do from there is the electrical drawings. We've got power plans. You're going to see this is the construction area here. This is all the museum existing. First floor stuff is, there's some mechanical space in here. Most of that is going to stay existing to remain. As you can see, most all this what this showing is existing to remain. Anything highlighted in black here is going to be counted. And we're going to go through and count these are outlet symbols. We're going to count all the outlet symbols, the different style outlets and all that stuff, so that we can start to get an idea on what we need for materials, labor, and equipment to be able to get this done. And here's our next floor, same idea. And we're kind of just going through it. Now we're into some lighting, and you can see there's multiple lighting, lots of different lighting here. And so anyways, it's got me to thinking today. As as I was going through kind of counting outlets and how much, where are I going to start with this project? Can we start it out with just simply going through and counting it, and then understand, once we've kind of counted that and we submit a bid, we are now going to be locked in. We're going to be locked in as the low contractor. And it's just bad business. If you're low and you're really low and you really miss the mark and you don't count the costs appropriately, here's what's going to happen. You're going to end up with a job that you can't afford to do. Or what happens is, if I so in fear of that, I just start tacking on and putting a whole bunch of fat costs into the job, I'll never get the job. So counting the costs of what I'm doing here is imperative. And it got me to thinking today, as I was it got me thinking of Luke 14. I think it's, let me see if I can find it, 28. So in Luke 14:28, for which of you, wishing to build a farm, does not first sit down and calculate the cost, whether he has sufficient means to finish it? And so this is, essentially Jesus is saying, there is a cost. There is going to be a cost of being a disciple of Christ. And the cost of that may be our relationships with people around us that kind of start to see us as Bible thumping crazy Christians. Maybe you're watching this right now. You didn't know this was coming. You thought this was going to be about estimating. And it is. We are estimating the costs. And when I start estimating the jobs I have to know whether or not I can, in fact, have the manpower or the infrastructure in my business to complete the project. Whether I get the right number or not, if I don't have the manpower or the infrastructure to do the job, I'm going to fall flat on my face. It'll be the last job I ever do. We'll get fired. It's going to cost me, and it'll bankrupt us. It will bankrupt me, my business partner, and then all my guys that work for me become bankrupt because I didn't appropriately, first and foremost, count the costs of doing the project for us. And then obviously on the flip side of that, we got to count the cost to know that we can get the job and be the apparent low bidder without being too low or too high. And but here's the deal. I also have to understand there's a cost if I don't go ahead and bid this job. My guys don't have work. If every time it comes and I know and I look at the costs, the potential risk or my fears or my anxiety about bidding a job like this, and I let them consume me, and they have before. I've not bid projects because of anxiety, fear of what might happen in the event I get it. And so but my guys need work. I need them to go to work to make a living myself. I need to, so all these things come into play. And so when we start being disciples of Christ, we have to count the costs of building that barn, as he says here, and make sure that we can complete the work in which we're trying to complete. But here's the real thing. You got to count the costs of not following Jesus. The costs of your eternal consequences of not following Jesus will always be far worse and heavier and more burdensome financially, emotionally, and everything if we choose not to follow Christ because we weighed some of the costs and maybe some friendships. Maybe even sometimes we're going like, you know what, I'm going to follow Christ. That means I'm going to go on missions, for the next however many years overseas or here in America in the inner cities, and you give up, and maybe you give up your house or you give up having nice cars when you go into ministry. And there are costs to ministry that may cost you maybe some of the American dream type stuff. Yet, when you fully consider the costs of not following Jesus Christ, the eternal consequences of not knowing who he is or being the man he's called you to be, I can assure you of this. It's far, just like I have to bid these jobs. I have to weigh the costs. I have to put ourselves out there, and it's risk, and there's risky business involved with it. Sometimes it feels a little bit like gambling when it comes to electrical work, but there is no gamble with Christ. None. It is a sure deal. Your life will be profoundly enriched here and now once you have understood the costs of being a disciple of Christ. Your life will be enriched, but your eternal salvation and destination is the real costs of knowing who Jesus Christ is. So my encouragement today is get in the Word, learn everything that you can so that you can better bid and understand the costs and the reward of getting the job done. The good thing with Jesus Christ is he's the contractor that's always already given you the job. He's just saying weigh the costs and then come to him, and then he's going to hand you the job. You're going to do the job, and then he's going to say, not only on top of what we're going to pay you exactly what you bid it, but I'm going to give you so much more than you ever thought you would get. I'm going to give you more than your contract amount. I'm going to give you the job, and then I'm going to give you far more, exceedingly more than you could have ever imagined by signing the contract with Jesus Christ. He's already done it. The work's already been done. Hey, sorry this went on a little bit long. Had to get a little bit of what we do around here. Please hit subscribe if you like what we got to say. I encourage you guys, to understand the truth about who Jesus Christ is and the costs of not giving up our lives and understanding that we need to be disciples of Christ and being enriched in this life here and today, that our lives will be abundantly better and full of his grace, love, and mercy right here today. But the eternal destination of heaven, the costs of not coming to Jesus Christ far outweigh anything that might come from giving what you might give up here on earth. Listen, y'all have a good day. Be blessed. But keep the faith, y'all. Keep the faith.